This is a mess. This is what happens when you want to design something and you're not sure which colors you're going to use, but you need to pick some out. Now I'm going to be trying a couple of different things with a 2D felting, and I need to decide on some color schemes. So I'm going to decide what I'm going to make, and then I know what to look for. I'm going to try for at least one scenery, one still object, and one fancy pattern. So I'll figure out what I'm going to make. I'm going to make 3 different things on 3 different types of background, and let's see what I come up with. Okay, I've got my colors settled for a still life, a abstract design, and scenery. So I've got those in 3 easy to use piles. Now let's talk about what to do it with. Now they have these craft squares that make great backgrounds, but all craft squares are not created equal. These here are this real soft, feel good, easy to use, and easy to felt on sheets. Then they have this kind of sheet, which is stiff. I guess it would be okay as a background only, but you're going to have to put something under it to really help it absorb the stitches you're going to put on it, the needle felting. It's a good sturdy background. This is a lot more giving, and this one isn't so much. These are only for paste booking, anything you want to stand up or stand out. They are definitely not for felting of any sort. These are very stiff, hard, dense. You're not going to needle felt through them. You'll just end up breaking your needles. This is a piece of felt material I got at Dollar Tree. It's very thin, flexible. It would make an interesting background. They have, you can get them in different colors. What else could you use? This is a piece of a felted blanket. One of those little light ones that sell from $3 to $5 every Christmas. They are stretchy and in one direction anyway. But they would make a bad background if you wanted to mount it on a thicker sheet like this and then use it for the top. They come in all kinds of colors. Basically anything you can get your needles through you can felt with. Okay, this is quilt batting. You can quilt on it real easy. You can shape it out, cut it out to any size you need. I would use 2 layers at least, and then put your colors on the background of that. It's very helpful. It has a fuzzy side which you can put down, and a more finished side you can put up to add your designs onto. So that's another background you can use. Now, I'm going to make small ones. So I'm going to use this felting pad that I made out of felting sheets. It's half a sheet big. And I think I'm going to use a piece of this. I'm going to use a piece of this. And okay, this is a little bit stronger. This is a little bit looser, like the pink one. So I'll use this one on one, and this one on one, and this one on one. Okay? Don't know which will be which yet, but it'll work. Okay. Now, the fun part. I'm going to start easy. This is a good sturdy piece. I want to make it a little bit bigger than what I'm working on. So first I chose to start with an abstract on the brown background, and I'm going to walk you through how to learn the basics. So first, you need your tools. Use a multi-tool. It can be 6, 7, 8, 3, 4, whatever tool you have that'll work, and your single tools. Now I'm not using fancy spirals and triangles and all that. They're just generic needle hooks that I got cheap on Amazon. So we're not using any specialty equipment here. Now you're going to be the design. So that will be you. Okay. So I think I'll add a little to the background. Now when you're making one of these, when you're making something like this, start out really light. Okay. You don't need a big solid coverage because you'll use up an awful lot of wool, awful lot of felt. Okay, now I think I'm going to just kind of stick this up like this. Now I use a method called tack and tear, or tack and pull. I'm going to barely lay my stuff out on here and decide what I like. Then if I don't like it, I just tear it off. I don't know what a lot of this stuff is. It's things I got here and there from friends, from packages, from mixes. Let's see. How about you? I want you as part of a background, or do I want you as... No, you'll be in the foreground. Okay. For the background, I want paler, duller colors. You might want to put really bright colors in the background and pale in the foreground, like blacks and grays in the front. See, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this yet. I'm just kind of playing around, deciding as I go. I like the gray utterly in the background. And I'm going to let a lot of the brown shine show through also. So I think that blue may end up being part of a main design feature. Add a little bit more of this maybe. Like that. We'll see. Now tack. Called tack and tear because anything you don't like you just take out. Also, it allows you to lift a piece up and put something under it if you want. You see what I just did? I did a major no-no. Major no-no. Okay, I gotta go fix this. I cannot believe I did that, and in front of witnesses too. Okay. I know it looks like I'm doing this very well, but I'm really not. If you're going to put your hand down, you set the tool in, push in, lift. Set, push, lift. You never do like that while your hand's down there. I think I want a little bit of this over here and under this. Maybe like that. Maybe like that. Okay. Now, after I start pressing it in more, the look may change for the better or for the worse. So I kind of look at it as I go along. I think I can do that, because I have other colors that are going to go on top of it. Okay. When you're first tacking it down, hold one end and kind of slant tack it in the other direction. And that'll keep it where it's supposed to be. As much as I've done this, I can still tear it off completely, totally, separate the colors and reuse them. Now, this interesting little brighter piece in here. That's cool. It's got kind of this silvery thing going for it. I'm going to add that. I'm not really wild about the gray. I don't want to take it off. There we go. Okay, now maybe some color, maybe some dark accents too. Your design, do what you want with it, right? I would add one piece at a time and see if it's going to go in with the rest of it. This is a good one for you to start with because you just do things as you go along and say, oh, I think I'd like to try this, I'd like to try that. Maybe a little thing of yellow in there. Get a little triad going here. And even have this go and flow along with that. This can come up and flow along with that, probably under it. This can just do its own thing. Okay, jury's out on that one. Ooh, here's a pretty color. What do you look like doing? Maybe we've got a green comet shooting up that way. Why not? Now this is right now I think it's essentially ugly, but we'll see. Well, it's an abstract, but I don't think I'll be framing this one. The idea is going to be to show you how to add components, how to maneuver components Now this is the point where you start putting them where you think you want them. But you kind of get your positioning down. I think this will look cool if I bent it up that way. And then bent it down that way. I like the bend but not the positioning. Let's put you over here. Remember, you're the boss. You do what you want to do with it. And I'm doing this without my glasses, so I better be darn careful when I'm around my hands. Now see how this bends here? I want to emphasize the underbend. Now, unlike felting a hat, you don't have to make this all stick down in like a permanent fabric. When you're making a hat or something to wear, you want it felted well enough to be a permanent fabric, able to be endlessly handled, used, washed, whatever. With this stuff, you can tack it down as well as you want, leave some of it puffy, some of it flat, and then you can put a piece of glass on top of it, or not. I would suggest a piece of glass because if it's going to be hanging out somewhere where it can be seen, it's going to get dusty. And if it's not felted like fabric, you're not going to be able to take a damp brush to it and wash it. Okay, I think I'm going to get to show you how you can just totally change something, because I'm not liking this at all. So after all that, I'm going to take you out. And that's why it's called Tack Tear. Now what do I want in there? If I put that on it, then that doesn't look right. Well, let's see. I'm being picky for something that I'm probably not even going to frame and put up. The idea is just to show you how to stick things together. Now, so far I've shown you how to just kind of tack things and think about what you're doing, what you want to do. And it doesn't take a lot. Nope, need something a little lighter in that. Since I've already got that there. There we go, a little piece of that. I almost made it disappear, but okay. I think I'll just leave it at this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around and I'm going to tack it pretty good. Then we're going to have some fun. Oh, that's bright. That's okay. Doesn't hurt to have one bright spot in there. I can shave it out a little bit so it's not as solidly bright. Okay. I've got to smash down a little more. It's time to sit back and see if there's something I want to change color-wise. And I do. I'm not really happy with the whole thing, but I like this. And I like this. And I kind of like, I guess I like it. Okay, I'm just not too, maybe it's the comet look of it. Maybe it needs more curlish. That rounded head is going to end up looking like a squid or something, though. Put that piece under there. That over there. You put that piece under there. Gives a little bit different personality. Okay, now I'm just going to keep doing this until I've got it flat, and then I'll come back. Okay. Now I've got it as flat as I'm going to make it for a picture. And now we get to go back and we get to have some fun. Because right now it's just a bunch of blobs. So we're going to take, this turned out real breathy. It got beaten down in. So we're going to take little swatches. I mean, little swatches. And we're going to reinforce these the way we want them. Now at this point, I like to have a Tpin, something that I can help maneuver sideways. Sometimes I don't want it breathy. I want more of a straight arm. And you do not go sideways with the tip of your needle, ever, 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 ever. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to tame, maybe even pull off. And replace some of this pink. Okay. Whoop. This one, get out of there. With my Tpin. There we go. Try a couple things, see if you think it's too much, not enough, adds to it, takes away from it. Now, do I want to add it to that one? Or do I want it to go off on its own and have that one kind of floating there? What I'm demonstrating is not how to do something, it's how to reimagine what you're doing and make you in control. Now see, that should look nice, but I don't care for it. Is it adding that did it? Is it too big? Maybe a smaller one would work. Smaller and a little thicker. Like that. Or maybe that one's too breathy and it needs a little more substance. No, I think I like that better. Retack what you undid. Sit back and look at it. Right now we aren't emphasizing yet, we're just deciding what colors and what configurations we want. Are they dark enough? Are they positioned right? Okay. Now this guy over here, I think I'm going to see if I can add a little swatches of a different color to it and see what that would do. Maybe this is odd stuff. I don't know what this is. It could be It's not roving. It could be a kind of batting. It might be okay, but it's got to be a lot thinner. Now there's two ways to make it thinner. Come out and roll it 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 until it looks thinner that way. And the other is to take a swatch of it like this and just pull it over side to side, top to bottom. Keep pushing it in until it's as thin as you want it. Like that, making a line. Where'd you go, baby? Come out here. Come out here. I'm not trying to hide you. I just want to line you. Like that. I just want a pale line on this. And this one that you just kind of rolled, do the same thing with. It doesn't have to have quite as much, bring it in from side to side because it's already rolled in pretty good. And another way you can't really do with this stuff, I don't think, it's too everywhere. It's like super small length and multi every which way. I think this is supposed to be like a core. I can't get it thin enough. Something like this. Get it off different color. Something like this. You can take the tiniest little, skinniest little bit off of it and lay it on there. See how nice and minding that is? It's not the color I want to use though, so I'm going to go back to this. And I'll use the twist method. Let's see, how about I take this. Put that down under here, there, and then lay this coming out over the top of it. I could do that. This little thing can't make up its mind what it wants to do, so I'm just going to play with it until it says, okay. Okay. Where'd you come from? Now, okay. It's a little breathy, so we want to add a little bit more strongness to it. Remember, this is the one I spread out so it wouldn't be too strong. But that was then, and this is now. You change your mind as often as you like. Now this dark blue is just fine the way it is. So I'm just going to make sure it's good and strong in there. Where's my Tpin? All right, now here's another fun part. We're going to do some emphasizing. Now I did this on my hats a lot, whether it was all the same color or different colors. You come in, you decide, I want this to be background, I want this to be on top. So you're going to go right next to the edge, and you're going to push the underneath color, the lower number, down and under the color you want to emphasize. Or just a line. It could be a line within the color. Do it in 2 or 3 directions until you can actually see the emphasis. This whitish gray is going to be a black ground all the way around. So any color on top of it is going to get pushed underneath. Like that. And while you're doing this, your little wisp of the top color is getting pushed in out of the way. Now, how'd you get back on there? I still got this little bit of pink sticking on there. You really want to go on there? No, I don't want you on there. This is still kind of breathy, so I'm going to pat this down. That's a little piece I added on top. Okay. I'll stick this under there, and I'll push these tiny little spare bits of pieces, threads of this color underneath itself. Now this I have to push down a little bit more so I can emphasize it because it's not down solid enough. Okay, now I can go back along here. Now Now you can pull your pieces this way, but you're going the same direction as your needle, so it's not likely you're going to end up destroying it. And never start a project with without a lot of extra needles. You never know when your attention's going to stray, and pop, there goes your needle. Okay, now on here we're going to take the blue and we're going to emphasize it on top of the lighter bluish green, like this. We have to finalize it down a little bit more, a little more solid, so it really shows that we're doing it. And then you stick your lighter green underneath. And while you do that, you pull along any little threads of this and make a nice firm edge on it. Nice solid edge with no pieces of the darker color straying out. See? And you can do that on both sides of the dark blue or just on one side of it. The darker color, whatever it may be. Now I'm going to emphasize this lighter color by doing under the gray and bringing these hairs into control. It's mostly a control mechanism. Put your colors exactly where and how you want them. Can you see the difference between this edge and this edge? Or this edge and this edge? Because you can take these and you can pin them down where you want them. You want them solid. No breathy. Now over here we have breathy, so we have to decide, do we want this to come over that, or do we want this to come over that? So I think in this case we're going to take the blue, the darker color, and we're going to put it under this green, like that. So it just starts to peek out. We're going to have to take the green, or the pale color here, stick it where we want it, and finalize its edge. You don't have to finalize the edge, you can keep them fuzzy if you like. And that's part of the silver of the blue. Okay. Tacking this down a little bit more so it's more solid. You get the general idea? You want to use the excuse of putting one color under the other to make your edge solid. A demarcation point between your one color and your other color. Still look kind of fuzzy, it's probably because your top isn't strong enough. So you go back and batten down your top a little more. Okay. Now this dark blue, you can do a couple things with it. First of all, we're going to put it under this yellow. got it tacked down pretty good. So I'm going to go along and I'm going to finalize this edge really nice. And I can take a lighter color and do things with it like I did the green. Or I can even take a black and put a black line down the side, or a white line down the side. Boy, we got a lot of noise going on outside. There we go. This outside's fuzzy. We're going to straighten it up. Can you see the difference with how it's making the colors look? You can make them very distinctive. Or you can have them just fade into each other. See, I don't have to make this whole inside as distinctive as the outside. I can leave it just like that. Okay. You do the same thing with your pink. I've got pink on pink here. So I can take this and bring this around here like this. And get a very distinct pink swirl on my pink. See how that works? It becomes very individual. Make sure you got your any little frail pieces that you want stuck together, pushed into where you're working on it. And this one, I think I don't want this fuzziness in the middle. So I'm going to take and I'm going to separate this out from this one that I tucked under. Very carefully. Over here. And some over here. Or I can leave it fuzzy in between. But I want these two colors to be distinct. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to spread them out like that. Okay. Then I can take my little enforcer here and it'll tell them where it wants them to stay. See? I just go along and I emphasize under here on this size. And then I can turn it and emphasize on the other side. Then you have all that lovely blue color showing out from underneath. Like that. So when you don't want the strays, you gather them together and say you're staying in one herd. Or you can let them spread out and graze. And here are colors grazing on your field here. Okay. So those are the basics. So there we have simple little design, and all it was meant to do is to teach you how to lay down your components, how to control them, how to define them, some tricks that you can use to just lay them out, add to them, accent them, clean up your lines. These are all things you're going to need when you do other things with 2D drawing, and this is the simplest way to show you. Next lesson, I'm going to use this green, and I'm going to make show you how to do a landscape. Between now and then, get an idea of what you'd like to do as a landscape. We're going to put sky and clouds on, maybe mountains and hills. I don't want to do the traditional farmhouse or barn. How about, I don't know, a windmill? Something like that. Think of what you'd like to put on there, and we're going to walk through how to make a landscape. Okay, see you next time.